I'm joined now by Congressman David Valadao, a Republican congressman from California who, like all of his Republican colleagues, voted for Mike Johnson today. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us here on Meet the Press Now. Do you think that Mike Johnson can be more effective as a House Speaker than Kevin McCarthy was?
You know, I think the situation's changed a little bit. Obviously, before the whole eviction of Kevin McCarthy, people thought that we would just move on. And the fight we've had over the past 3 weeks, I think, has educated some of these members that play games like they did this last time. They don't want to go through that again.
Do you worry about whether he's been vetted properly, considering how quickly he ascended?
Well, obviously, there's always concern with any member that gets into a position like that. But as you can imagine, as we've learned very, very well over the last 9 months, 5 votes can change the direction of anything really quick in this building.
Well, you supported empowering Patrick McHenry here. Is this a better outcome than that?
I think it is. I mean, obviously, supporting Patrick McHenry, I think he was doing a great job. But setting that precedent was a little bit dangerous and something we were all concerned with. But ultimately, what we wanted to do was get back to the work for the American people.
Congressman, President Biden won in your district. So how do you explain to your constituents who voted for President Biden that you just made a Republican who worked to overturn the 2020 election House Speaker?
You know, of all the members of Congress, there are a lot of folks that I probably disagree with on a lot of topics. I think my position on that has been very clear. Obviously, I've taken some really tough votes on that. But the reality of the situation is what people in my district want me to do more than anything is just get us back to work and focus on the issues that actually affect their pocketbook today.
And, Congressman, I understand that a lot of people in Congress disagree about a lot of things. But something so critical to our democracy, that central question about whether the 2020 election was stolen, how can you square that with those constituents?
I think pretty much every single person that was up for the speaker ballot, except for Tom Emmer, was someone that I probably disagreed with on that topic. And the reality is we need to move forward, and I think we need to focus on those issues. I mean, people in my district, the median income is $44,000. They need to get affordable energy prices. We need to lower interest rates. We have to have an impact on what's the inflation rates that are impacting their lives on a daily basis. Food prices, home prices, and there's a million things going on that I think are very important to these people. And the number of calls I've gotten over the last few weeks over the speaker election is under 1,000. In fact, I think it was closer to 100. I think people just want us to get back to work, and I think that's what we did today.
But, Congressman, so if I understand you correctly, are you saying this was just the best of some really bad choices?
No, I didn't say that at all. I mean, the reality is in this position, the speaker, as we've well learned over the last few days or over the last few months, is it's a position that helps us move bills off the House floor, but 5 votes can change anything. So obviously there's going to be some disagreement. But there's 5 members here that are willing to change the course of history and change the course of the direction of this House. And it's pretty easy to do. And so I'm not concerned about some disagreements. I'm concerned about us moving and focus on issues that impact everyday Americans where we could all agree.
What makes you think that there won't be another motion to vacate at any given time?
Oh, I'm not committed to the idea that that won't happen again. I imagine when he pushed the CR, the same thing that some of these guys used to oust McCarthy will be an issue because he's already started talking about that. But the reality is the vast majority of members of Congress on the Republican side and Democrat side do not want a government shutdown. And if they're going to use that as a hammer to take out him, I mean, sadly, the American people are going to see it, and hopefully the Democrats don't play into that. Because the last one was just 8 Republicans and 208 Democrats that allowed this disaster to start. Hopefully, they're smart enough to figure out that this isn't a good strategy.
And Congressman, you know, you on that point, you voted for the CR to keep the government open through November 17th. Would you support another CR to avoid a shutdown here?
Yeah, obviously a shutdown is a worst-case scenario. A CR is just a little bit better than that. Ultimately, what I want to see is us move those appropriations bills from my committee. Obviously, I sit on the Appropriations Committee, so it's a priority of mine. But CR is the next best option, and so we'll do that if we need to.
And, Congressman, I want to get a reaction to something that DCC spokesman Dan Gottlieb told Politico. He said vulnerable Republicans like Calvar, Duarte, Garcia, Steele, Valadao have spent the past week showing Californians exactly who they are, enablers of their party's worst impulses and far-right extremists who want to ban abortion and overturn election results. These GOP shows can speak about moderation until they're blue in the face, but they cave to their MAGA extremist friends almost every time. Your response?
Sadly, anytime the Democrat Party comes out with their attack ads, I mean, I've sadly dealt with those for a long time. I can't worry about that. But the situation that we were in for those last 3 weeks was created literally by 8 people who wanted to create some chaos, and they couldn't have done that without the help of the 208 Democrats that joined in the clown car with them to create this circus. Sadly, they played a major role in this, and now they're trying to point fingers at others, but the reality is they played the biggest role in this.
And Congressman, final question, big picture, is the Republican conference stronger today than it was 3 weeks ago?
I believe so. I think a lot of people learned that the strategy that those 8 took was not productive, and hopefully they don't try to play that game again unless the Speaker Johnson really just gets out of line.
Congressman Valadao of California, thank you so much for joining us here on Meet the Press Now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.